It is becoming quite obvious that a large portion of the general population, at least here in Denmark, are waking up to the fact that the program and the social and political persecution of me, Stephen Bell, is purely for political purposes, run by the government and their intelligence agencies. The latter part is nowadays a well-established fact to most people. In conjunction with this awakening of the masses, the state arbiters of the program are yet again expanding their utter arbitrariness and illegal activities in an attempt to subdue this realization that is happening in the hearts and minds of the public. The state and their intelligence agencies are becoming quite hysterical in these regards, and as so they are acting very irrationally, and some would say desperately, to stop this awakening. And because of the fact that the general public has lost a lot of trust and confidence in the government, they are relying more and more on mediators and go-betweens to reinforce their claims and narratives that are broadcast on a daily basis to the masses through the program's communication channels, in the form of virtual movie fabrications and endless talk radio. The most prevalent mediator and go-between, the government and the public at large, is Denmark's radio, which to no one's surprise is also financed by the Danish government. Denmark radio shows are now on a daily occurrence outright repeating and reinforcing the program's propaganda and PSYOP content over especially P3 radio broadcasts many hours a day. The government's claims and narratives, which all have been previously broadcast through the illegal propaganda campaigns via the program, are now ever more being repeated and reinforced over Denmark's most popular FM radio channel in the form of soppy, snowflake radio entertainment that is utterly intertwined with the state's propaganda claims and narratives. It is also clear to see for any objective observer that the intelligence agency's PSYOP divisions are mostly using the most famous hosts to reinforce and repeat their propaganda to the masses, showing a clear connection between Denmark's radio and the Danish intelligence agency PET. There is clear signs of major changes on the horizon, as people are finally realizing and waking up to the fact of this situation. However, the government is not letting this happen willingly, and they are truly coming after me, and because of the fact that trust and confidence in the government and the state arbiters of the program, those being one of the same, has severely dwindled to record low levels, the government is relying more and more on private entities and people. As an example, they are and have been using what you might call media influencers to perpetuate their propaganda claims and narratives, and again spinning it as some soppy snowflake media entertainment for the masses. The government is also using chosen members of the public to act as their proxies to engage me on social media, especially in relation to my newly founded business, One Stop Engine Shop. In these instances, the operators of the program's real-time communication channels are directing said members of the public to engage me directly, and in these interactions that I am de facto having with the government, these members of the public, completely unbeknownst to me, are continuously attempting to ridicule and discredit me and my business. However, this is not going very well for them in real life, despite the large number of government proxies, who in many cases are completely being destroyed by me in front of others to see, this having the exactly opposite effect that was intended with these active measures conducted against me, which is without a shadow of a doubt infuriating the government and their intelligence agencies, who are running these puppet shows, which likewise is the reasoning for this latest intensification in the state arbiters' propaganda and PSYOP efforts against me, that are being waged on a global basis with the intention to ridicule and discredit me in the front of the eyes of the masses of the globe. And this goes without saying. The government's propaganda narratives and virtual movie fabrications is of course heavily obsessed with sex, and I am being indicted in all sorts of bizarre and perverted narratives that I have very little knowledge of, other than the fact that the propaganda content is sexually obsessive. I find it quite funny how the government so heavily relies on not only their abilities to fabricate propaganda content, but why is it always sex related every time? Which is especially funny in light of that I have absolutely no social relations to speak of, because that is not permitted by the government. So that in turn means that I have absolutely no sex life because of that very fact. And the once or twice a week that I look at sex.com for 10 minutes or so is very hardly worthy of a mentioning, and nevertheless a global media circus that is continuously being put into action in these regards, in this never-ending saga. And while all these active measures and overt propaganda campaigns are becoming ever more direct and tangible, the administrators of the program are just as profusely as they are fabricating propaganda content, indoctrinating the public, and especially the weak-minded, to enact the government's gaslighting scripts in their engagements with me, literally still trying to deny the existence of the program at the very same time that they are being directed and in many cases outright run by the program's operators, and repeating their words word for word in their engagements with me, which I am pointing out as it is occurring in real time, and calling out those said operators for what they are, utter scumbags. And the proxies being used literally have no idea what is truly occurring in the interactions which they are a part of. This is another fact which truly shows how the government and their intelligence agencies are preying on specific demographics to enact their will for them. However, the more people that are waking up and realizing that the program is a global social engineering and intelligence operation, the more dangerous the situation becomes for me personally. The government and their intelligence agencies are coming after me in 120 ways from Sunday, and it's becoming very easy to distinguish that they will do almost anything to get rid of me, no matter how illegal those operations may be, or how apparent that the said operations are a setup. Therefore, planting of evidence against me is very likely, or inciting some crackpot to attack me physically, resulting in me having to defend myself physically, and using that as a pretext to come after me is also very likely, just to mention two of the most likely things to happen next.